have a new high-end phone from Samsung, the Galaxy S24 FE. Is this year's model even more value-packed than last year? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our Galaxy S24 FE review. The Galaxy S24 FE aims to offer a premium experience that's a bit lower tier and more affordable than the true Galaxy S flagships. Feature-wise, it's similar to the Galaxy S24 Plus, just without some of the bells and whistles. The design is very similar as well, besides being a little bit heavier. The back is made of Gorilla Glass 5, and it's glossy, so it collects fingerprints easily. There's a flat frame made of matte aluminum, and separate camera rings, like you get on most any Samsung phone these days. As you'd expect from a Galaxy S smartphone, you get IP68 rated ingress protection against dust and water. The display is one department where the S24 FE comes out ahead of the previous model. It's a 6.7-inch OLED with a 1080p resolution, a 120Hz refresh rate, and Gorilla Glass Victus Plus protection. It's significantly bigger than the 6.4-inch one on the S23 FE. It's about the same size as the S24 Pluses, except its bezels are a bit thicker. You have plenty of sharpness here at 385 ppi and support for HDR10 Plus video. The maximum brightness is also better than the S23 FE's. While we maxed out at less than 500 nits with the manual slider, this can boost to nearly 1400 nits when in auto mode, great for use outdoors. Unlike the S24 Plus, this display doesn't feature LTPO tech, so its refresh rate is less dynamic. Still, it's able to dial from a smooth 120Hz down to 60Hz when idling to save a bit of power. For audio, there's a pair of stereo speakers. They scored a very good mark in our loudness test, and the sound quality is good too. There is some bass, and the vocals are solid.
I'm wide awake, but you're a nightmare. I can't escape, I'm seeing you everywhere.
The S24 FE has an optical under-display fingerprint reader, which is fast and reliable. And the phone can come with 128 or 256 gigs of storage on board, and that's not expandable through microSD. The interface of the Galaxy S24 FE is One UI 6.1 on top of Android 14. It packs the same features you'd find on the full flagship models, including DeX and Samsung's suite of AI-based features. If you'd like to find out more about the specifics of One UI, you can check out our dedicated video. And the S24 FE is getting the flagship treatment when it comes to software support. That's 7 years of OS updates and 7 years of security patches. The chipset of the Galaxy S24 FE is an Exynos 2400E, made in-house by Samsung. It has the same GPU, but a different CPU. Still, this hardware is indeed flagship grade. In benchmarks, the S24 FE scores near the top of the charts. Heavy gaming and intensive tasks are no problem here. However, just like with the flagship Exynos 2400, the thermal management leaves more to be desired. We observed heavy throttling during our prolonged stress tests, to the tune of around 50% of the max performance. The Galaxy S24 FE is powered by a 4700 mAh battery, which is larger than last year's model, but smaller than the S24 Plus. It earned an active use score of 11 hours and 48 minutes, which is quite alright for the class, though its web browsing score was a bit mediocre. The S24 FE supports up to 25-watt wired charging, and there's no charger included with the phone. With a proper adapter, we were able to charge the phone from 0 to 56% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 10 minutes. There's also support for wireless charging and reverse wireless charging here. At first glance, the camera setup looks the same as that of the S23 FE, with a 50-megapixel main cam, an 8-megapixel 3x telephoto cam, and a 12-megapixel ultrawide. But Samsung has swapped out the telephoto sensor for a different one this time around. The main cam's photos have great detail, good contrast, and wide dynamic range. The colors have some pop to them, as typical for Samsung, and shots of people come out with great looking skin textures and definition. 2x digital zoom from the main cam is decent. The photos look pretty close to the 1x ones, just a bit softer and slightly noisier. In low light conditions, the S24 FE can use its automatic night mode. These photos are solid with a good amount of detail and good contrast and dynamic range. They do have a fair bit of noise though. There is also a dedicated night mode you can enable for any of the cameras. The photos take longer to capture, but the results are cleaner. The 3x telephoto camera saves 12 megapixel photos by default, which means the output has been upscaled from 8 megapixels. Still, the 3x zoom shots have good detail and look nice. The colors are well matched to the main camera, and the dynamic range and contrast are also good. In low light, the telephoto shots have good exposure and plenty of detail, but the results, like the main cams, are a bit noisy. And now the ultra-wide cam. It has a very wide field of view, the detail is good, and the colors are well matched to the other cameras. The contrast and dynamic range aren't perfect, but they're good enough for an ultra-wide. The ultra-wide camera is okay in low light. The detail is there and the dynamic range is fine enough. However, these photos again have plenty of noise. Selfies come from a 10 megapixel front-facing cam, which doesn't have autofocus. The quality is great, with good sharpness, nice colors and skin tones, and very good dynamic range. The Galaxy S24 FE can capture video in 4K with its rear cameras, and the main cam can do 4K at 120 FPS and 8K at 30 FPS. The main camera's 4K videos are very clean and sharp, and the detail level is great. The dynamic range is decent too. Videos from the telephoto cam are a little softer than those from the main cam, and the dynamic range is a bit narrower, but the results are still good overall. And the 4K videos from the ultra-wide camera are nice, with enough detail and good contrast. Video stabilization works very well on the S24 FE. And the main cam holds up well in low light conditions, with enough detail and low noise. So there you have it, folks. The Galaxy S24 FE has a lot to offer, with a larger screen than last year's model, lengthy software support, solid cameras, and a competitive new chipset. The only thing preventing us from recommending the S24 FE outright is that its price is not so far away from the S24 Plus when you compare the same storage tiers. This will definitely change over time though, and if you can find the S24 FE for a deal, then it's worth looking into. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're looking for alternatives, you can check out our reviews of the Galaxy S24 Plus and the Xiaomi 14T Pro. Let us know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.